Hey, Yvonne. Yeah, I'm alive. I don't know what it was. It's what usually happens to me. I just kind of lost my voice. In this case, I had kind of a sore throat, bit of a cough. I just had no voice. That was the main reason I didn't do it last week. Wow. Hey, Darth, there you are. It's especially hard for me losing my voice if I have to like be at work because I got to be able to communicate, and that's hard to do when you can't talk. And I'm still got a little bit of a cough, but I'm on the mend. Hey, Susan. Oh, I think I'll survive. No, it all happened during my weekend, so just kind of a slow week. That's why there weren't any vlogs last week. I'll tell you what, though, it hit the other lead that I work with hard. She was gone 3 of the 4 days, including yesterday. Yeah, I don't really do any of the treatments. I just let my body take care of it. Lots of fluids. Like I said, I never really felt bad. I had no voice. See, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to be at work if you have no voice. It's hard to do a live stream too when you can't talk. Work's going fine. It's been a crazy couple weeks, but hopefully things will start getting better next week. Yeah, subtitles, right? But if the subtitle computer can't understand me, it's not gonna. You're just gonna get gibberish. Well, you remember I was sick a couple weeks ago when I went to Solvang, but that had nothing to do with the airplane because I was sick the morning I woke up. So so I don't know. And like I said, usually if it's something in the airplane, it's going to hit me within a few days of it. It's not going to be like 2.5 weeks later. So no, I don't think it had anything to do with that. No emus either. And yes, I did get some new rocks last week. I kind of I'm still a little hungover from the rock and mineral show, so I kind of went small this time. But I got a couple cool things. I thought that was really kind of pretty, and of course that's one that does something really cool under a black light too, because there's little crystals in there that kind of glow yellow when you hit that. You see it a little bit there when it doesn't wash out the camera. I got that. I thought that was really cool. And this is just a crystal sphere, but it's got little what they call rhodile, which is just a little growth that grows in the middle of it. And That one's kind of really kind of shiny and pretty and got kind of a gold sheen to it. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought that was kind of weird. It looked like a metal. And it actually feels like metal too. So I don't know. It isn't though. But I thought it was kind of an interesting looking piece. And so I got that. And I got this thing. I think this thing's pretty cool. A lot of pretty crystals in that one. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. Now we got a little reflecting light here. So I like that kind of stuff. So, like I said, I went kind of low key this time. I only got a few things. Hmm. Yeah, well, with last week, it was the day of the live stream. I woke up and I didn't feel right, and so I made the call at that point. You waiting for a treat? I don't know. We haven't heard anything from the person who's in control of that. Can't. Okay, there it is. Darth has declared it's treat time, so it isn't official until Darth says it. Everyone else can suggest it, but see, that's why Bite doesn't have access to my bedroom. He's got the whole rest of the house, and I can't kind of keep the door to the bedroom closed. Primarily because I don't want him up on the bed. I don't want cat fur all over the bed. I got enough issues with allergies without having to contend with sleeping with cat fur. Right, Bite? We're definitely in the summer here. It's in the 90s every day. We're hoping maybe for a little rain this afternoon or tomorrow. We'll see. It's one of those things that's hard to predict. I don't know. We can look at the radar, see if anything's showing up on the radar, but if they're predicting it tonight, probably not going to see it yet. Let's see. Yeah, there's just little spotty showers like northeast of here, so it's stuff that's already passed us. But I can see a storm front kind of coming in from the north. So depending on what that does throughout the day, that could become interesting tonight. Not really anything to get excited about yet, but we'll see. It's a parody of the movie They Live, but with Adam and Jordan as vloggers. It says they vlog. Hello, Gene. Hello, Mark. Yeah, they were T-shirts that Jordan made a number of years ago. At the time, that was when I was kind of vlogging with him a lot, or traveling with him on his vlogs a lot. And for a while there, I got one of every one of the ones he made. So I got like half a dozen vintage T-shirts. I don't wear them out that much, and I'll put them on once in a while for the live stream. But no, that's Jordan in the foreground and Adam in the background, because you can recognize the green sunglasses. Oops, wrong one here. You can see Jordan's green sunglasses, so that's Jordan in the front. Oh, he wandered off. Yeah, nothing, no one to give treats to now, and I'm not eating those. I'm sorry, I love my fans and all, but there's only so far I'll go. And eating cat treats is one of those things I won't do. Sorry. I remember trying dog food when I was a kid, the dog food kibble. Eh, not my thing. Yeah, treats will have to wait. That's what happens. Oh, is his birthday today? I didn't know that. I guess I knew it was coming. Oh yeah, and many more in the time I've known him. Because I remember when he had long shoulder length hair. Yeah, Jordan did a lot more of the merchandise early on. He had a great T-shirt maker that made all these T-shirts for him, and in fact, there was the one T-shirt that I had made that was, that I got made that was done by the same guy, but there's like two or three examples of it. And of course, one of the last ones he did was the T-shirt that with Jordan and I when we were traveling to Texas that first time. It was more than a graphic artist. It was a graphic artist slash company that made T-shirts, and I guess the guy was trying to form a niche with vloggers, doing vlogger T-shirts, and I think he was trying to hope Jordan could get like Adam and Justin and some of the rest of them, Jacob, to go to this guy for the T-shirts, but it never happened, and they went under. I think it was the owner of the company that did the artwork, and then he owned the company that printed them. I've been thinking about doing T-shirts again, but it was so much work last time, and really I ended up losing money in the venture. But I was thinking it would be fun to do tie dye T-shirts. Uh, that was that had like the name of the vlog or something like that. I don't know. I'd have to figure out how to do that. But I bet you the same company that made my other T-shirts uh, could just find white T-shirts, print with like black text or something like that, and then we'd color, tie dye them. Yeah, that's what everybody uses, a Breck bobblehead. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, John. I don't wear mine either. I think the problem is it just looks weird wearing your own T-shirt, or in my case, an in-action figure. The problem is I only got one cat, and once I sold that, I'm out of cats, and that's I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to sell this one anyway. I've kind of gotten attached to him. Suppose I could go empty out the pounds. Congratulations, you win a cat, and you win a cat, and you win a cat. I don't know how that's. I don't know if I've got any. I don't know if I've got another pet in me at this point. It's kind of. I don't know. I think it gets to the point where it's kind of cruel to leave a pet alone all day when I'm gone for like 12, 13 hours a day. That's part of the problem. Jordan has Jaw, but he can take Jaw with him, and Jaw, I think, accompanies with him, a number of times. Well, I keep wondering how all these district judges have the ability to kneecap the president like that. I mean, not even a single Supreme Court justice can do that. And these district courts, they aren't even in the Constitution. So how can something that isn't in the Constitution have the ability to, stop the president of the United States? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, these district courts are a creation of the Congress, so at very least, it's a separation of powers issue. because it's the Congress attempting to illegally block the president. And I mean, that can't possibly be constitutional, but here we are. Well, in terms of the "That's Not How It's Done" T-shirt, I did. The company that made the T-shirt had a graphic artist on site, and so if you make a T-shirt with them, they will they'll do the artwork for free. So getting the artwork isn't done. It isn't a difficult thing. And the truth is, I was actually really happy with the artwork I got from the company. The graphic artist really did a great job. She asked basically what I want. I had kind of a picture in my head what I wanted it to be, and kind of I brought in like pictures of things. It was a reproduction of that scene from Back to the Future. So I brought in a little video clip that showed what I wanted to do. I brought in other like images to kind of give the person an idea what I wanted myself to look like and stuff like that. And I mean, her first version of it was pretty good. And after I had a couple notes, and once I got my notes added in there, it's like it's perfect. I love that shirt. That's a great shirt. I've heard about that too in Ireland that they're saying enough. I don't think our governor will let that happen. No, I mean we're pushing to ban Sharia in Texas here, so I don't think there's any chance of that happening. This is in California or Minneapolis or Dearbornistan. Rhonda was here a few weeks ago. I don't know. I think she's working a lot on Sundays. Well, the problem with this out of control district court issue is it's got to be solved by the Congress. Congress funds these courts, so Congress can defund them. If they're not doing their job, then Congress needs to do that. But so far, there doesn't seem to be any effort to do that. Yeah, the thing is, and there's nobody. Well, I mean, if it's Congress in Arizona, versus the U.S. Congress, if you're running for like local office, there's nothing a state officer can do to federal ICE agents. Unfortunately, there's something called judicial or federal supremacy. It basically says in federal issues, the federal government is responsible, and immigration is a federal issue. So anybody at the state level can't do that. Now, if they're running for Congress in the U.S. Congress, then they'll just be another voice for that. But even there, I don't think there's much that even Congress can do short of defunding it. And there's definitely not enough demand for that. It's just a few loonies that want that. Well, the way the U.S. Constitution is written is, and it's not specifically spelled out in the Constitution itself, but it is spelled out in the Ninth and Tenth Amendments. And specifically, the Tenth Amendment addresses uh, who has right over what. And basically, the Tenth Amendment says, and I don't have a quote, I can't quote it exactly, but basically anything that the Constitution says is the federal government's responsibility, or anything that the Constitution says the states can't do, then that's for the uh, for the federal government only. But everything else goes to the states. That's kind of convoluted, but basically, if the Constitution says it's the federal government's responsibility to do something, it's the federal government's responsibility. Other than that, everything falls to the states. And so, immigration is a federal issue. So the federal supremacy, is the federal government has supremacy in this. New York City is a mess. That Mondami guy, he's insane. I mean, does that really surprise anyone that a state that would elect Alexandria Ocasio Cortez would do something like that? No, they aren't really, because they're saying, no, they're not saying that we need a judicial review, though. They're saying the president can't do this. And, they don't have the authority. There's a big movement going on right now called Convention of States. I don't know how many of you follow that, but there are a couple of ways to change things in the Constitution. Some of them involve the Congress and and the states, but and the representatives and stuff like that. But also, there's a Convention of States where the state governors can get together, and I think it's uh, what 3/5, I think, of the states, or I don't remember what the exact number, but there's 2/3, 3/5, something like that of the states can get together and vote for a convention of states, and they can all get together and hash out constitutional amendments. And that's, I think, probably going to be the only way we're ever going to get a handle on this, because Congress is never going to vote to restrain themselves. So That's our best bet right now is the convention of states, and we just got to get there. I think we've got like half the states bought in. I think already. So it's just a matter of it happening. Well, and what happened in California just this past week with the election shenanigans there? They've created all sorts of back doors in there so that they can cheat if they have to. Well, you got to remember he's a trust fund baby. He's never had a real job in his life. Grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, and now thinks he can manage an economy better than the experts can. No, not Newsom. Mondami, the guy in New York. Well, Mondami's talking about seizing the apartments from landlords too. I mean, that's insane. He doesn't even lie about it or try and deceive about it either. He's upfront about it. He's proud of it. I haven't seen Flash today yet. I guess I'm just coming off the work week this week, so I don't see her much at night. But uh, I'm aware of her existence. She's still getting into the garden and eating my jalapenos. I've also got something getting in there eating my tomatoes. Yeah, that stuff I got growing out in the garden. I've gotten out of the garden. Most of those jalapenos I you know uh, harvested this morning right before the live stream. Yeah, I'll show you a large version of that picture here. Hold on a second. Yeah, see, there's the big picture. So that green tomato in the upper left-hand corner that got picked this morning. The red one below it got picked this morning. Uh, all but four of the jalapenos got picked this morning. So, and what I've been doing is I've been picking the tomatoes a little bit green, and letting them ripen on the counter because that way I've got something that's getting into my backyard and eating my tomatoes. In fact, you can see I didn't even notice it until I looked at the picture, but that one right there has clearly been chomped on. And you know, I found two tomatoes. If something's taken bites out of it, so I think I probably got like a raccoon or maybe a possum getting in the backyard, chomping on my tomatoes. And of course, Flash, like I said, is still with the jalapenos. No, I haven't seen any rabbits, and it's too high off the ground to be Flash. I don't know. Maybe it is ET. I don't know. Well, like I said, I've seen possums in the yard, and I know there's raccoons and skunks in the area, so it could be one of them. It's something small, probably a possum. Now, the thing that makes me think it's a small scurrying creature like a possum or a raccoon is they're only getting tomatoes that are 12 or 14 inches off the ground. If the tomato's way up high on the branch, it isn't getting them. So it's something that's standing up, leaning on it, and taking chomps out of the tomato, um, from the ground. Yeah, probably. Homeless vagrant, maybe just a homeless varmint. Haven't seen any woodchucks in the area to either. Like I said, I know possums, I know raccoons, I know skunks. Any one of those could get in the yard and be chomping on my tomatoes. I've heard that squirrels would be omnivores, but the bite marks are too big for a squirrel, I think. I don't know, it'd be pretty hard to round up suspects, though. That's the only problem I see with that. I'm sorry, would you bite my tomatoes so I compare your bite marks to my partially eaten tomatoes? Well, it's funny, I do actually have something I could probably use that would probably help. Um, I used to have a problem with a bird that was eating the fish out of my fish pond in California. And I have this thing that I got. It's basically a motion sensor attached to one of those sprinkler head things. And basically, you hook it up to a hose. And if it senses anything in the area, it goes off and scatters them off. And I could probably use that. Also, be fun to get a camera out there and get footage of that. But I don't know if I got any cameras that really do well in low light like that. Yeah, can you imagine some like infrared footage of possums eating my tomatoes? Oh yeah, I know there are night vision cameras. I just don't have one. I hope there aren't any mountain lions in my yard. I like the small furry types of critters. I think next year I may have to build up the garden a little bit to keep flash out of it. Build it up another one more level here. That wouldn't hurt. That wouldn't be the end of the world. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a chupacabra. That explains everything. No, flash seems to be limited to the jalapenos. That seems to be her thing. I don't know. That's a very concerning question there, Yvonne. One bird, one vote. If it does happen, I'm sure they're voting Democrat. I saw Kara last week when I was at the rock shop. She's doing good. I think the store is doing a little better. So that's a good thing. Yeah, I got a couple things last week when I was there. I was like I said before, I'm still a little bit a little bit hungover from the Rock and Mineral Show because I got all sorts of stuff there. So I kind of went little, but I got that one. I thought that one was kind of pretty, and of course this one's cool because this one does a great thing under the UV light. You can see a little bit here. See if I can get it so it doesn't wash out so bad here. There's this little lattice, there's a little line going through the middle of it that turns bright yellow in the black light. If it didn't, yeah, if it didn't saturate the camera so much here. See if I can figure out some way of doing this here. You can see that. Yeah, you can see it a little bit in there. All right. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was kind of a fun little piece. It looks like metal, but it's actually, I think they call it a prophecy stone. And I guess there's an interesting story. It starts out as another mineral, and then it kind of transforms into this. So I don't know, kind of ugly, but interesting too. It doesn't have to always be beautiful, right? And I got this fun little crystal sphere, and it's cool because it's got a little funny little growth in the middle of it, a line going right through the middle of it that has a very gold sheen to it. You get the light just right, and it glows gold. In fact, Kara would suggest putting it on this thing, but I think this thing's too big for it. Yeah, it is too big for that. And we're getting good results with this thing on there. This thing looks awesome there. Look at that. That looks kind of interesting. And then I got this one. This one's pretty too. I like this. Look at that. Look at all the little crystal action going on in there. It'll get the light just right here, reflect it. Let's see. I had this glowing really well a little bit ago. Yeah, you can see a little bit there. So yeah, that's a cool one. So I like my pretty rocks. I'm obsessed. Well, yeah, kind of looks like poop, but then again, I got a rock that actually is poop. So yeah, it would definitely be a hard poop. Look at all the chunks in that. Dino poop? Well, maybe. Yeah, I got something I started researching a little bit that I got to do. I think this week that will probably end up turning into a vlog. It actually might turn into a bigger project than I'm thinking, but you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'll start working on it today. I think we'll see what comes of it. Actually, I was thinking about doing a restaurant vlog last week, and I decided to go do the restaurant first to see what I thought of it. It was a place that's just a block down from where Kara's place is, and she'd gone there and recommended it, and I decided I wanted to, check it out. And I don't know, it was all right. I don't know if it's worthy of a vlog, but there is that Mexican place I've been thinking about going down to. It's downtown, and I guess there are a whole bunch of new restaurants that have opened up recently in the area. This area is definitely growing. I sometimes wonder what the point of doing some of these one-off restaurant vlogs is, because if you don't live in Waco, it's like, yeah, who wants to watch some other guy eat? Yeah, yeah, I know. Do or do not. There is no try. Darth Saber's quoting Yoda again. Yeah, he's probably sleeping off his treats from a little while ago. Oh no, it turned off. That was weird. Maybe best not to mess with it here. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks since Rhonda's been here. She and I think specifically Logan were here like what 3 or 4 weeks ago. Actually, I think it was when I was in Solvang. I think they showed up there. No new movies. Yeah, I haven't been to a movie theater in a long time. Definitely not since I lived here in Waco. And even well before that, there was a time where I just kind of stopped with the movies. Yeah, thoughts on Yellowstone? Just no new ones. Yeah, it'll happen at some point. I'm just gonna. It'll be like that trip to visit my mom that one time. I'll just have waited too long. It's like okay, I'm gonna do it. Sometime in the next 20. That would be fun to actually go visit that place. Yeah, that's me, Brick. Oh man, it's crazy at work. It's been especially crazy because For the last 4 days, basically. The other lead has been sick most of the time and took a few days off. So it was me running the whole department. So I'm glad the week is over, let's just say. Well, most people on TV don't have any real talent. Whoa, that sounds like a good one, Mark. Yeah, we're hoping to get a little rain tonight and tomorrow, so that would be fun. Maybe get some more rain footage up. I love my rain footage. One of the rainstorms I shot a couple years ago, you actually could see in the video the the lights flicker because it obviously hit the power pole or something like that. Yeah, we're expecting sort of hopefully a wetter summer this year than usual because I guess there's an especially strong El Nino brewing in the Pacific. So that would be nice. And so far, it's been doing pretty well. We've gotten some good rain this year. I love Texas storms. That's one of the reasons I didn't like California. I love it when it rains. In fact, the patio cover I had was specifically designed. It had a polycarbonate roof that was clear rather than the metal roof because I love the sound of rain on that. So it was great when it did rain to just sit out there and enjoy it. It's raining in Northern California. Let's confirm that here. We actually have the ability to confirm that. Actually, I don't see anything in Northern California. I see a low front, a couple of low fronts. I don't actually see any real rain happening. Huh, I cannot confirm that. One of the things the people that bought the house from me when I got it, or the people I bought the house from, they one of the things that they mentioned was that they'd recently replaced the roof on this one because of hail damage. So apparently, we can get some pretty good hailstorms here. Have not seen one yet, but they happen. Mhm. Yeah, they call the storm that's coming in tomorrow. It's going to be a cold front, so it's going to bring the temperature down to the upper 80s from the low 90s. Yeah, it's a little afternoon here, and it's in the 90s right now, I'm sure. Oops, punched my laptop. Not supposed to do that. That's right, people. I am a professional, including being a virulent racist. I don't know. It was. I don't know if it what it was. I just kind of laid low for a few days and kept my fluids up, and it didn't really slow me down. I just didn't have a voice. Yeah, that's what it was. Is emiuitis. I very rarely take sick days. I did take 1 or 2 days. I don't know, a couple months ago that I was sick. Ah, I changed my angle here a little bit. Yeah, one of the things I see in ads around here is how to repair hail damage around here. Didn't ever see that in California, I'll tell you. I've seen ones that are the size of like baseballs and even softballs. Not me personally, but I mean it happens. It happens around here enough that there's plenty of like photographic evidence. Yeah, we got hail from time to time in California, but it was like pea-sized hail. It's just tiny little stuff. I got a hankering for one of my fresh off the vine tomatoes. So stand by for a second. You're going to watch me eat a tomato. Because I know you always wanted to do that. Yum, yum, yum. Fresh off the vine just this morning. Threw it in the fridge just enough to get it cold. Probably go for another day of ripening or so, but I'm sure these are going to look good. Mmm, fresh tomatoes. You know you want some. No, no salt. The tomatoes are perfect just the way they are. Like I said, I think we could go for another day of ripening, but that's okay. It is. It's pretty good. Of course, I'm a big fan of tomatoes to begin with. So yeah, see, that's the problem with me and tomatoes. I like tomatoes so much, I'll eat them right off the vine. I tend to take them off the vine when they are green and let them ripen in the window. Well, I've been thinking I might do something with jalapenos in it because I got a bunch of them on the vine, and I told you a couple weeks ago I pickled a whole bunch of others. Maybe I am sleepwalking and eating my own tomatoes, but I don't know. The bite radius doesn't seem right. I used to sleepwalk a lot when I was a kid, and it was even weirder when I lived in California. I'd sleepwalk, and I'd be aware that I'd be sleepwalking. I'd be walking around, and it's like I get up, and it's like, why am I here? And I'd be aware of my surroundings. I'm aware I'm up at night, but I'd eventually just make the decision to go back to bed. And yes, these tomatoes do ripen. This one was very, very green when I put it in the window a couple days ago, and so yeah, they will ripen on their own. I'm told that once they're green and full size, they have everything they need to ripen on their own. When I was a kid, I mean, it was like when I was younger than 10, my parents would tell me about it. They'd say that in the middle of the night, I just got up and I'd be standing in their bedroom, and they say, "What do you want?" They say, "What do you want to me?" And I'd say, "I don't know." And they say, "Why don't you go back to bed?" And I'd say, "Okay," and that was the end of it. Yeah, that would be a little embarrassing, Gene. Yeah, I suppose if it got a little too chilly, that might wake you up. Okay, that one's embarrassing. You don't have the cat trained to tell you if you sleepwalk. When I was a child, I never remembered the next day. I was always be told I had sleptwalked. When I was older and would have them in my house in California, I'd remember being up the night before, but I just, my brain wasn't on. Yeah, I'd always eventually, convince myself to go back to bed, and I would remember it the next morning, but not why. Probably is a fugue state. Does seem like a weird question. Do you snore? I don't know. Hey, John. Long time no see. Yeah, that seems like kind of what I did when I was an adult, or even when I was a kid, I guess, just kind of wandering around the house. Mike goes through little moods where he'll like wake up and start meowing at 5 in the morning, but most of the times he's pretty quiet at night. And then he gets the Mike, shut up! I'm trying to sleep. or how waiters or waitresses in restaurants always seem to start wanting to talk to you when you have a mouthful of food. I wonder if they go to school to learn how to do that, or if that's just a natural talent that comes with being a waiter or waitress. How's your meal? See, I sleep in a little bit later in the morning when I can on my weekends. I got to be up at 4:30 in the morning, so I'm usually sleeping until at least 8 on my weekends, and that's nice to be able to sleep in. That means I can also kind of, you know, be up later at night, and I kind of like doing that. I'm more of a night owl anyway. Haven't done anything in the display case in a few weeks, not since the platform. Right now, I just got everything sitting on the sawhorses. I think I might move that back into Bite's bedroom at some point because I kind of like having a big open space in the living room here. See, I'm getting a little different, Mark. I was always one of those people that needed a lot of sleep, minimum 8 hours. And if I get 10 hours, I was great. But I'm finding as I get older, I can deal with less sleep because, it's hard for me, even on a work night where I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. It's hard for me to go to bed much before 10, especially when I get home from work at, 8 or 9 o'clock. I need a little time to wind down. I can't just, if it's been a real hard day, I can come right home and jump right into bed. But otherwise, I like to, sit down and watch a little TV or something just to kind of slow down, kind of depressurize from the day. Can I sleep in the heat? No, not really. In fact, I have a ceiling fan in the bedroom, and I keep that on all the time now, even in the winter. I like to have the kind of air moving around. Yeah, I don't do any of that. I got just a clock radio that goes off, and usually that's enough to wake me up. Well, I keep the AC on 24/7, so the house stays at a pretty constant temperature. It's nice. I avoid the snooze button problem by putting the clock on the other side of the room. Then I got to get up out of bed to do anything to it. More tomato. Yeah, see, I can sleep. Last night, for instance, I went to bed at about 11 and I was up at 8 this morning. So that was a 9 hour night. On my weekends, though, it isn't uncommon for me to, when the alarm goes off at 8 to turn it off and sleep longer if I can. I got the AC on. I also got the ceiling fan on over me. That keeps the air moving here, makes it comfortable to do the live stream. I'm not sure I even know where the snooze button is on mine. Yeah, I've heard that too, that he almost doesn't ever sleep. There's some people that can just do that. I guess Einstein was sort of the same way. It's also funny. I find out on my work nights that I tend to start waking up about 4:15 naturally. So by the time the alarm's going off, I'm already kind of sort of awake. I still have them occasionally, Susan. But it's really weird now because I'm aware that I am dreaming when that happens, and so I can usually force myself to wake up. But I'll wake up at night sometimes, and I'll suddenly feel like my bed is tipping, and like I'm going to slide out of my bed. And that happens still periodically. Hasn't happened maybe in a month or so, but it does happen from time to time. I don't know what it is. It's just weird. It's just my mind playing games with me, I guess. But I don't have as many of them now as I did. They happened a lot when I was in the apartment. I've never been sensitive to paranormal anything though. I've been in a number of places that are supposedly haunted, but I don't know. Man, I'm a real show me kind of person too, so I kind of naturally go into it as a skeptic, which is probably a good thing because then if there was ever anything real, it's like, okay, I can't deny what I just saw, But so far, I've never seen anything I can't explain. Yeah, if I get video footage of me having one of these dreams one night, it'd be interesting. Unfortunately, I never know when they're going to happen. There is some AI that's in our network right now. I tend to resist it. I've seen too many movies like The Matrix and Terminator. I'm kind of little naturally uh, distrustful of AI. Of course, apparently the Adobe package I have has some AI in it, and I've played around with a little bit. It's kind of interesting. Just not ready for my technology to rise up and take over. Haven't had time to. I mean, I've mentioned a couple times in the past few weeks, we're in like what I call pre-production of another video, but that just means I'm writing the script. But I haven't really had a time to work with it lately. It's been really busy at work. Hopefully, we can get back on track and start working on it. It's funny. The boss told me if I wanted to, I could come in on my off days to work on it, and I'm thinking to myself, it almost makes more sense to work on it at home. And I know they kind of resist the idea of me working at home because I'm hourly, but the videos aren't going to happen unless I work at home because unless I'm unaware, the company doesn't have a multimedia studio in the place. So I'm always going to have to record the audio here. I'm always going to have to do the editing here. So I don't know. I suppose it wouldn't be completely out of the norm for me to write it here also. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Rise of the Machines. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the Terminator. It's a great movie. Yeah, I've got several of the Terminator movies after T2. There's a couple of them I think that are good. The third one I thought was pretty good. Yeah, I like that one where John Connor, where Judgment Day actually happens. And there's a fourth one I think called Rise of the Machines. It's this shows um, John Connor after the wars started, and he's battling with the Terminators and stuff like that. But there's a few of them after that that aren't very good. I mean, one and two are the best, no doubt about it. I mean, one was such an amazing movie when it came out that I was so concerned that T2 would suck, and then T2 was even better, I think, than the first one. Yeah, T2 is a really good movie, and there's a director's cut version of the movie that I have that I think is even better. So, of course, that's the original, and that one's just an amazing movie. That I think is probably Schwarzenegger's best movie ever. Let's get into position here. And of course, T2, that one is amazing. Definitely worth a look. I love the liquid metal Terminator. That one's really good. And then I got Rise of the Machines, and that one's good. That's a young young John Connor. Uh, and when Judgment Day actually happens. I actually kind of like this one too. This one's pretty good too, with a young Kyle Reese played by Anton Velchin, the guy who uh, who unfortunately died when he got crushed by his car. He also played Chekhov in the Star Trek reboot. And then I got this one, and sorry, this one's no good. This one's horrible. I got it. I think I got this in a at a like at a discount rate or something like that, and I just wanted to see it. But yeah, this one's not really any good. Yeah, yeah. See, John says the same thing. And I think there's another Terminator one that's out there that I don't think is really that good either. I never saw that one. Well, and you got to remember there was really great CGI on T2, but it was a great story too. The CGI wasn't the story. The problem comes when it's too much about the CGI and not enough about the story. And unfortunately, that isn't just Terminator. That's basically any movie today. That's right. There was one called Terminator Genesis or something like that too. Yeah, I never watched the series either. Got like 10 more minutes on the live stream here. Got to finish my tomatoes. Well, yeah, T1 and T2 were both shot in and around LA. Because the opening scene where Schwarzenegger first shows up um, in the present and is kind of confronted by those gang members when he asks for their clothes. That's at Griffith Park Observatory. See, that's another movie that I think was perfect the way it is. Escape from New York. And there was a sequel to that, Escape from LA. That was pretty good too. Actually, I don't have either of those movies. I should probably get them. I know, and it's amazing they did so much as they did with the budget they had. All the Terminator effects. That was all stop motion animation. That was before computers, before CGI. That makes that all the more amazing too. Now I get the Bloody Mary mix. I'm not going to waste my tomatoes on Bloody Marys. Cameron does seem to have his ability to make some really great movies. And that's just one of them. Another one he did, there was The Abyss. Anyone remember that one? I mean, it's clear that the movies were shot in and around LA because you can see a lot of like the LA skyline in the background. There's a director's cut of The Abyss that I have. I really couldn't stand the theatrical version. I thought it was it was such a great buildup, and it was like at the end. But see, Aliens, that wasn't Cameron, that was Ridley Scott. It was Kurt Russell was the star of that one. Snake, yeah, Snake Plissken. But yeah, Titanic, Avatar, those are both Cameron. And The Abyss, I like I said, there's a director's cut of that movie that I think is pretty good. I think it was the craziness of this giant pink city floating out of the ocean. It's like, I don't know, what were you thinking? Oh, okay. Was that how it was? I know it was Ridley Scott was the original one. Did Cameron do Aliens? Okay, that's possible. I sometimes forget that all the sequels aren't necessarily done by the same person. See, that's kind of what made some of the Terminator movies go downhill. Is that they weren't done by Cameron. Well, I mean, I love the idea. I love the concept of the abyss, where these creatures that have been living in an abyssal trench for generations who are intelligent and they can manipulate water. And I love the idea how it all starts off with a submarine that gets knocked out of whack when the UTIs get too close and ends up crashing, and then they end up looking to this oil team to go try and investigate what happened to the submarine, and then they discover the UTIs. And I don't know. It's a great story. True Lies. Yeah, that's right. That's another Cameron film. That one's pretty good too. I watched that one recently. I think Charlton Heston was in True Lies. I think that was one of his last movies. No, no, I need the next 4 days off. I'm looking forward to this long weekend. It's been a crazy week. I think it aged me horribly. Yeah, Darth is off to Yellowstone. Do a vlog for us, okay? Like to see what's there. Well, I wanna build up enough of a nest egg so I can afford to retire comfortably. Now, granted, I got an advantage. I don't have the home mortgage or any of that, so that makes it a lot easier to do that. Now, I think I can find a bunch of 80s and 90s movies that were back in the 80s that were good. I mean, I remember a lot of the like John Hughes movies, and those are pretty good. Yeah, I was just thinking I might watch Teen Wolf again. I haven't seen that in a long time. That's a good movie. Gremlins, that's a fun movie. I just watched The Breakfast Club a week or two ago. That's a good one. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. A lot of the best movies. One of the movies the movies I like were in the 80s and 90s. The slasher movies were really big. Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Beverly Hills Cop. That's another one. I haven't seen that in like forever. Yeah, me too, John. Back to the Future, yes, of course. Close Encounters, Poltergeist, E.T. If we're gonna do Spielberg, yeah, I agree, John. But I mean, that's usually the case too with most sequels. Well, a lot of movies today want to make a political agenda too, make a political statement. And I don't know how these movie studios continue convincing their investors to keep investing because the movies they're making are they're horrible. I mean, Disney hasn't had a real successful movie in a very very long time. Year after year after year, it's making movies that tank, and they still haven't figured out what the problem is. Disney killed Star Wars. Disney killed Marvel. Disney killed Pixar. I mean, there hasn't really been a great Pixar movie since I can't tell you when. And I can't imagine how bad Toy Story 5 will be. The original Toy Story, that was one of the best Pixar movies ever. And, it's kind of gone downhill from then. I mean, Cars was pretty good. Nemo was pretty good. But I mean, I'm starting to think, the rest of them, I don't know. And I was familiar with a lot of them because, working at Disneyland on the Pixar Play Parade, obviously, I had a lot of Pixar movie experience. But see, I went one step further, Yvonne. I just cut the cable. I haven't had cable. I haven't had TV now for, I don't know, a few years, and I don't miss it. I just realized we're coming up on the 4th of July here, it was the 4th of July weekend when I moved into this house. So we're coming up on 6 years in this house. Doesn't seem like it, does it? Yeah, I only saw the first Scary Movie too, and I didn't like it, and I never went back. It seemed stupid. Anyway, I put in my 2 hours. I think we're going to pull the plug on this one. We'll pick this up again next week, and we'll see you at that point. So thanks for everyone watching. I had a good time. We'll see you next time. Good night.